space, the final frontier. That's how it starts. The Star Trek, intro, and and I guess the question has always been, you know, Star Wars or Star Trek, because those are the two main space movies, and in my opinion, those are the two main space, um, I guess you could say, choices of what do you want, in the future. If you had a choice, would you rather live in a universe like Star Wars, where a lot of stuff doesn't make sense, like the lightsaber, um, or just the way gravity works in general, or Star Trek, which is a little bit of a utopian way of seeing the future of humanity, and more of an explorer type attitude towards space, rather than a warring mentality, as Star Wars. I mean, it's in the name, Star Wars. Um, and so, yeah, let me know in the comments which one do you prefer? Which one, if you had a choice, or if you had a control of where humanity was headed, or not even that, just by looking at how we are right now, you know, how society is right now, and how the mentality of the people are right now. Do you think that we would be in a Star Trek universe or a Star Wars universe? I'll tell you what I want. I would want it to be Star Trek. Star Trek is a lot more utopian. Star Trek is pretty much a dream, of what we would want to be. And Star Wars, unfortunately, is a bit closer to to the reality we have right now. There's an emperor. There's a lot of invasions going on, and destruction and shit like that. Um, and so yeah, guys, let me know what is your choice. And that's really when it comes to like the history, because I usually talk about the fame and the history of certain genres. And when it comes to the space, um, genre, like space movies, science fiction, I guess you could say, because it is most of it science fiction. Um, you know, Science fiction in space, right? Um, the history is kind of all over the place because it's such a big genre. It's something that humans have always wondered about and always wanted to explore themselves, and have written books about it. And to find life in other planets has always been kind of like a wish of humans, um, and to explore the unknown. Humans have always been, have had that element, that gene of exploration, of exploring the unknown, and what's around the corner, what's in that dark cave, um stuff like that. Little questions like that have always lived in the mind of humans. And because of this, we are enamored by space. We want to know what's out there. We want to know how it works. We want to know what's beyond the stars. um and talking about this, it reminds me of a lot of movies that aren't on my list. Some of them I will mention, um and some of them I won't mention at all, and you'll know what that means if I don't. But one thing that I didn't talk about in this movie is because one of the movies is um, Well, you know what? I forgot. Event Horizon, I think it's called Event Horizon. And it's a ghost. No, it's not a ghost movie. It's a horror slash space movie. And that one I didn't include, and I should have included. But the reason I didn't include it is because I feel like that's a whole different genre of its own. And I feel like there should be more movies about that type of stuff. Um, I think it's almost like a mind bending type of a horror, And if you guys, I think it has the name of the movie Event Horizon, where they go beyond. They've all been trying to go beyond the stars or whatever, and they finally get there and they find hell. And hell takes over this ship or whatever, and so that's what that movie's about. And I think that's the movie. If I got the name right, because I usually get names right unless I put them on like a notepad or something, which I need to start doing. But, anyways, moving on here to my number 5, Lockout. Lockout is a more recent movie. You can actually watch it now on Tubi, I believe. And it's not a very popular movie. Not a lot of people know about it. I don't think it ranked that high in Rotten Tomatoes. It's not. And actually, this movie was going to be on my list of not so popular movies, because I was going to make a list of movies that aren't that popular and that not a lot of people know about. And I do have a lot of those in a lot of my lists that you if you like my videos where I rank movies, you're gonna see a lot of movies that aren't that famous on my list. This one is one of those. This one is one of those movies that isn't as popular and it got a low score on Rotten Tomatoes, and not a lot of people ever talk about this movie. But pretty much it takes place in the future, not so distant future, and there's a prison in the moon, and there's this lady, this young lady, played by Maggie Grace, that she goes to visit the prison because she's a humanitarian, and she wants to help people and help even criminals and prisoners and stuff like that, and wants to help the planet, people like that. And of course, in this movie they make fun of people like that, by the way, which I don't think they should, because it's just, who the fuck else is gonna care about stuff like that? I'm not. So in my opinion, if some people want to protest and talk about it, then please do. Please do, because I think it's important. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be the one to do it, because I'm just I don't know, lazy, I guess. But in this movie, if you were gonna look at it politically, it's a very right wing movie. It's up there with Demolition Man and what else we got? There's a couple of those movies out there that are kind of saying this is the way things gotta be, and we gotta hold the line because we are the only ones that can hold the line. Some shit like that. It's kind of like it's a very slick meaning that kind of says, yeah, good guy with a gun, or type shit like that. Which is hilarious to me. It makes kind of sense because of the way we are and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just a fun movie. It's very fun. And that's what you're there to do, is to have fun. If the movie's going to be fun, it really doesn't matter, in my opinion, the political views that they're trying to push or whatever. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but basically, the lady, she goes to the prison and she wants to examine the place or whatever, how they're treating the prisoners. Are the prisoners being treated right? Is it are they breaking any humanitarian rules or anything like that? and the prisoners escape. Pretty much, something happens to where the prisoners escape, and now they're trying to find the president's daughter or something like that to kill her, because the girl, the humanitarian girl played by Maggie Grace, she's actually the president's daughter. And so now there's only one guy that can break into a prison to save the president's daughter, and that is Guy Pearce. The movie is funny. The movie is fun. The movie is a little corny in some places. Some of the jokes don't always stick. Some of the jokes don't always hit. But most of them, I feel like, were fine. And it's pretty good old school type movie. You know, kind of like Sylvester Stallone type movies or Arnold Schwarzenegger type movies. It's simple. It's kind of dumb. But it's very fun. It's very entertaining. And I do want to watch it again, because there is a bad guy in this movie. There is an antagonist. He's a prisoner, but I just can't remember him that well. I'm gonna have to rewatch it again. But it's definitely one of those movies that's always in my mind, you know, because I like it so much, because it's such a cool premise, such an original premise, to where it's in the moon. It's a prison in the moon, and you got to break into the prison to save somebody that's in the prison. So it's like, usually you got to break out of prison, you know. But it's a good movie. So now let's move on to number 4, and that is Soldier. Soldier, played by Kurt Russell. There's other actors in the movie, but I forgot about him. But he's pretty much a space soldier. He's a space soldier. From very young age, you know, he was taken out of his home, I think voluntarily, because that's how the government works in the future. And he was put into training camp. And whoever couldn't, you know, they couldn't keep up, they were killed. So it was either you did what you had to do, or, you know, you get killed. So they were trained like, you know, slaves, pretty much. They were trained to take orders and to be soldiers. That's pretty much all they did. And so much to the point to where they can't even talk that well. All they know how to say is like, yes sir, no sir, affirmative, you know, shit like that. And that's pretty much what Kurt Russell does during the whole movie. He doesn't really say much. There's not a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of feelings in Kurt Russell's face. That's part of the reason why I like the movie, because you don't really have to say much. You know, a lot of people, I mean, dialogue is important, but if you could express feelings with like your face and your movements and stuff like that, you know, that's pretty good too. I mean, that's a good actor. And Kurt Russell, I think, was pretty good in this movie. I really enjoyed the movie. And of course, this one I don't think is that high on Rotten Tomatoes either. And I don't think people even talk about this movie that much. Is there some dumb things in the movie? Of course, it's a space movie. And it's science fiction, right? So, of course, there's gonna be some things that are kind of, you know, in the fantastical realm. But you know, I really enjoyed the movie. It's pretty basic premise. You know, he is replaced by a new breed of soldier, because that's really what these guys are. These soldiers, they train them, and they're just like equipment. You know, they're like tanks. You know, you have these amount of tanks, and they have all the best gear in the world, right? Or in the best technology in the world in these tanks, right? But in a couple of years, they're going to be replaced by the new tanks, and they're going to have to either scrap these, just destroy them or give them out to Ukraine or something. I don't know. So, um, and that's the same thing that's happening to these soldiers. The new soldiers around the block are here. They're better. They're faster. They don't really question you a lot. They're not really thinking anymore. So they're the next step. So the message, in my opinion, here is that it's a very hidden message, but it's there anyways. Is that all you are to a government is an equipment. You're a tool to them. And once they find the new toy, they're going to replace you and they're going to throw you away in the trash. And that's it. You're nothing. Of course, the hero of the movie, he finds a way to get vengeance, or vengeance just happens to fall in his lap in a weird way. But that's pretty much what happens to equipment, and that's what governments and corporations, big corporations, see you as. And they see you as equipment, and you're good now, but as soon as they find the next best thing, they're going to throw you away to the trash and play with their new shiny toy. But it's a pretty good movie. I hope you guys watch it. Let me know what you guys think. Pretty good movie, I think. And by the way, it's very old. Like the action and the way it's structured. It's structured like an old school action movie. So it's flowing. It's not going to linger too much. If you're seeing something in the screen, it's for a reason. And same thing is with this one too. Like both of these, the directors, they know how to keep a pace and they know how to flow, keep you busy with what you're watching, and everything is for a reason. And that's what I like about some movies, because some movies, they're just too long, and sometimes there's certain parts in the movies where you're like, well, what are we doing here? But this one is very much, has a good flow, a good cadence to it. The Fifth Element is my number 3, guys. Of course, most people know about this one. This is one of the more popular ones in my list. I guess you could say this is a basic bitch choice because everybody likes it. No, I mean it's a great movie. I mean I think it has everything that a movie should have. It has a good protagonist, a good antagonist, a good co-star. It has comedy relief. It has aliens. It has ancient aliens. There's futuristic, like, car chases. I mean, there's so much to love about this movie. There's clones in the movie. It's just, it's like it took all of the sci-fi elements that you want and you need in a movie, and they found a way to make it relevant within a movie. And it's like, you think about it and you're like, you don't want to put too much into a movie because it's going to be a mess, right? But the way they do it so well, that it makes sense. Just the storytelling. Hold up. Sorry. Just the story. There was a hair in my mouth. And I was trying to get it out as I was talking and trying to pretend like nothing was happening. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna have to take a break here. But yeah, it has everything a movie, a sci-fi movie should have or would want to have. It's all mixed up into one, and they do it well, and they write it well, which is awesome, and it's not messy. It makes sense. Like I said, it has a lot of things. It has ancient aliens. It has futuristic technology and car chases. It has weird antagonist that's connected to the alien somehow. I forgot. I haven't seen it in a while. It's just a great movie. And I really don't have much to say about it because, like I said, most people already know what this is, and they probably have it in their list of top 5 movies or 10 movies that people like. Soundtrack's pretty good. It's just an all around good movie, and I definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen it, then I mean, where have you been? You know, what are you doing? Anyways, my number is this my number 2? I guess it is. My number 2 is Passengers. Now, Passengers, I think I also mentioned it in another list talking about love movies, and I think this one's a good one. But it's also a good space movie. It's a good sci-fi movie. So basically, these guys they're in a ship that is like a Voyager type ship or something. They're supposed to be terraforming this planet that exists somewhere out in space. And they develop this ship that's gonna go to that planet, and it's going to terraform that planet, and they're gonna start a new life in that planet. Um, and they're in like their sleeping pods or whatever, and they wake up earlier than everybody else, and they're trying to figure out why that happened. They woke up way too early, and they don't know if they're going to die in the ship or not or whatever. It's a whole deal. And then next thing you know, they find out that the ship is running out of fuel, and they're all gonna die, and they have to do something to save themselves and to save the people that are still remaining in the ship, that are still asleep. And so that's pretty much the story. But there is like a love thing going on because he falls in love with her. What the heck? He falls in love with her. Jesus. And she does too. I mean, it's a mutual thing. It's not like he's like all obsessed and she's like, yeah, leave me alone. And of course, the other thing is like there's always the question of it's just us here, so maybe it's just because it's just you and me. It's also traumatizing what they're going through. So I think they question that as well. If is this just because we're going through this together? I think that they did, or maybe that was just me questioning it. Like I said, I need to watch a lot of these movies. I need to rewatch again, but they're good movies. And this one's one of them. And I can't remember if there was a message to it or not. Probably not. But anyways, that is my number 2. Now moving on to some honorable mentions. Life, not the one with Eddie Murphy and Martin, which is also a very good movie, by the way. And I might put it in another one of my list, maybe comedy or comedy drama, which is one of those genres that hasn't been very popular lately. But anyways, Life is a good one. Check it out. There's pretty much an invincible alien in this one. It can't, in my opinion, you can't kill it, and it's not. It's kind of like fungus, It's always around the corner. Moon, if you want to get kind of sad, or if you want to feel a little better about your own life, check out this movie. Star Trek. Listen, you're probably gonna know what my choice is. That the question I made in the beginning, you're probably gonna know what my choice is because of what I don't have on my list and because of what I do have on my list. Prometheus, very underrated, man. Very underrated, and my favorite. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite alien movie, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there. This movie reminded me of how people's opinions are heavily dependent on other people's opinions or critics' opinions. Um, people don't really like. And the reason I say that is because I went to watch this movie at the movie theaters with my friend, and I remember watching the movie and really enjoying it. I was really enjoying the movie, and but I was going into it with an open mind, not knowing that this was a prequel or a sequel to Aliens. That this I didn't know this thing was connected to the Aliens franchise at all. So I went into it kind of blind, but I was enjoying it. I was very intrigued. I really liked the process of the mystery of what was going on here. What are they discovering? Because the whole mission was they're discovering their engineers, the people that created humanity and created humanity in several places around the universe. And so that was their mission, which is a thing that humans for a long time have been questioning. Are we from somewhere? Are we from out there? Are we from in here? And so I was intrigued by the movie. It captivated me in that sense. And I thought, because also at the time, you got to understand, Ancient Aliens were a big deal. They were a big show. Even though a lot of that stuff is bullshit, but still, it was a big deal. And at the same time, this movie comes out, and I was like, oh, this is like Ancient Aliens. So I was intrigued. I was going along with the ride, and I liked it. I enjoyed the movie. I really liked the protagonist. She is a female, and she's just a tough bitch, And I didn't know what they were going for, but I was enjoying it anyways. Of course, towards the end, I got surprised with the monster that appears, and it looked a lot like the aliens creature. I forgot the name of it, but xenomorph, I think, or something like that. I don't know. But what I was trying to say is that I went to go watch it with my friend, and I remember telling my friend, "This is a pretty good movie," and he was like, "Yeah, it's awesome," and I could see in his face that he wasn't enjoying it. So I continued to watch the movie, and then all of a sudden, I watch him turn on his phone as the movie was still playing, and he said that he enjoyed it and he was enjoying the movie, and we agreed on it, right, as the movie was playing. So he turns on his phone, and I see him looking at other people's critiques of the movie, and I see him going over Rotten Tomatoes and a bunch of ratings everywhere, and he just turns off his phone, and immediately his face just turns from this happy, interested person in the movie into this mad face, like pouting. And I was like, what happened? So he was enjoying the movie, but then he went online and saw other people's opinions, and then he said, no, I don't like this no more. And then towards the end, I asked him again, that was a pretty good movie, huh? He was like, yeah, but I didn't like it, how they like to connect it to the aliens. Why did they just do their own thing? Why do they have to? And I was like, what the heck? You're just saying, you're repeating shit. Now you're repeating shit that you heard online. He's like, bro, people need to just have their own opinions, bro. Now, after a couple of years, this movie is kind of making a comeback, and it kind of gathered a cult following. And usually that happens when critics destroy a movie on the way out, and it's not just critics, just fans that suck, bro. And the worst fans are people that love your work, that love something. People that love aliens, they are the worst for aliens. Okay? And that's across the board. People that love Batman, they are the worst critics of Batman. They are. They just don't know. They want things to be the way they want it to be, or the way it was in the past. And they can't let go. and that's not good for art. But anyways, this movie, I'm sorry took too long on this particular movie, but it did make an impact on me, and I specifically remember it because of that, because of the fact that I loved the movie, but a whole bunch of other people were like, "Nah, this movie sucks. That's not my aliens. That's not my aliens." Like, get the fuck out of here. Uh, Interstellar. A good movie as well. Of course, everybody knows this movie. Everybody talks about this movie. It's practically a meme now, or it was a meme for a while. So yeah, it's a pretty good movie. One of the basic bitch choices as well. But in my number one is Aliens. That is the second movie, so it's like part two. And I picked this one over the first one because the first one was good. I'm not saying that it wasn't good, and I'm not saying that it's not one of my favorite alien movies or space movies at all. But I think part two took what happened on one, on Alien, and it made it better. It made it it just made it all around better. And also it's another female role. It's another female protagonist. But it was done well. It was done so let's talk about Prey, guys, because Prey, I have a video where I'm talking about Prey and how I like Prey and how I enjoyed the movie Prey, and how it's a really good Predator movie. I would say, in my personal opinion, it would probably be Predator, I would put Predator, then I would go Prey, then Predators, then I would go AVP, even though it's kind of cheating, and then I would do those others. The other ones suck. The one with the autism. That shit was crazy, dude. And then the movie was boring too. I was like, what the hell is happening? It had a good idea, but it was too complicated, and there wasn't enough badassness to it. But anyways, getting back to Prey. Prey was a good movie, but the main thing that I thought was missing from the movie, and the main thing that I felt was lacking in the movie, is development in the character of the main protagonist, the female protagonist. And to Prey, and if there's going to be more movies about Prey or about female protagonists, I want you guys to go back and look at Aliens and look at what made Ripley such a great female protagonist, such a great female lead role, and what made her so good, and the difference between Prey and Aliens. I want you to go back and look at both of those movies. They're good movies. They're both good movies, and they're both great movies. In fact, I really like Prey. Okay, Prey has a lot of classic scenes in there that you're never gonna forget. The fight scene between him and the bear, the fights in between Predator and the bear, of course, between Predator and the French people. The fight scene between the Predator and the brother of I forgot her name, but the female protagonist. That was a good battle. So there's a lot of good things in the movie that I enjoyed. The way he dies was awesome too. A lot of people don't like it. I liked it. So it was good, but the main thing that was lacking is the reason for why she was doing it. And the reason for why she was doing it is simply because she wanted to prove that she could do what the guys could do. That's it. Which is a very selfish kind of reason, and not just selfish, but it's kind of lame, bro. It's just it's not that deep, And when you look at Ripley, she doesn't want to go to the planet. She keeps telling everybody, "Don't go to the planet." There's a bunch of badass, or at least they think they're badass Marines. Saying, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna do whatever we want because we're the Marines, we're U.S. Marines, and nobody can stop us. A bunch of quote unquote alpha males, telling the female protagonist that she doesn't know what she's doing, that she sucks, and that they know because they have the big guns. And she doesn't want to be there, okay? And she keeps warning them. She keeps telling them they don't listen. All right, and now she has to now she has to get the gun, and now she has to get shit done. And she's about to leave, and then she has to go back, sacrifice her life for a child that she doesn't even know. It's not her blood. It's just a kid that she felt compassion for. You could see the heart of the character pop out here, and you could see what she's feeling for this kid, for this child that has been abandoned. Well, not abandoned. Her family got killed, and she was the only one left. And she catches feelings for this child, and now she's taking care of the kid or whatever, but now she has to find a way to save the kid and save herself and escape. That is way more deep than I want to prove the man wrong. It's a lot more deeper. There's a lot more feelings involved. It has a lot more heart than Prey. Prey is still good, but I think when it comes to the development of the characters in the movie, and when it comes to two female protagonists, one of them does it in the new school kind of way, which is not that good. It's very bad in my opinion. And the other does it in a more heartfelt way, and that's Aliens. So if anybody wants to study how to make a good female protagonist role, look at Aliens, bro. Of course, Aliens Resurrection kind of destroyed that, but we tried to. Aliens Resurrection is one of those movies that I enjoyed when I was young, but then when I rewatched it, I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?" It still has classic scenes. That's the thing about these movies, is that most of them have these scenes that stick to your mind, and they're never gonna leave. Like the basketball scene when she's playing basketball, or the scene when they gotta swim. They gotta swim, and some of them get eaten by the aliens. A bunch of classic scenes for Alien Resurrection. But anyways, that's my list, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are mad that I didn't include Star Wars. Let me know.